Pick any one of the cards. If you're confused, then just breathe in and out for a couple of times. And then whatever card comes to your mind, select that. Else, select a number between 1, 2, 3. Pile number 1, this is your reading. Let's get started. Those who selected the first card selected the card of Bhairava. And I have already pulled out a few cards here for me. So I will explain you each card one by one. So firstly, coming on to who you think you truly are, or what is it that you aspire to be, because sometimes in life we are like in the middle phase of like reaching to our ultimate true self. So you like to see somebody you like to see yourself as somebody who is truly fearless, who is truly aware of who they are and accept themselves fully. And I feel those who have picked this pile ना उनकी ना अपनी life से ये या खुद से ये बहुत demand होगी that I should be extremely comfortable in my skin. That should be one of the aims, or that is something that should be a constant thought in your mind, that I want to be extremely comfortable in my skin. I feel this pile, the ones who have picked up this particular pile, they may have had a slightly critical childhood. They may have grown up, hearing a lot of things about themselves. Like, also, ऐसा होता था ना, like up until many years ago also, still prevalent, I'm sure, right now. Like, we grew up hearing things like, oh, you're so dark. Oh, you will not find somebody to marry. Or, oh, you are so womanly. Mard bano. Like, for men and women alike, like, So, things like that. Or maybe you must have grown up with extremely critical parents, because of which there was a constant need to discover and know yourself. And I think in that quest now, you may have made some eccentric choices also, or maybe choices that your family does not necessarily understand. And see, nothing eccentric needs to mean it is a wrong or a very wrong form of rebellion. Sometimes it is simply different from the family. Like अगर आपकी family पूजा पाठ में बहुत ही ज़्यादा मानती है, then maybe you just turned out to be agnostic, or you turned out to be somebody who started believing more in just spirituality or universe and energies, and that's it. Similarly, if your family is very codependent and believes a lot of in maybe hum saath saath hai mindset, maybe you are somebody who believes in like independence, or being not unhealthily codependent on anybody. तो मुझे ना ऐसे करके यहाँ पे छोटे छोटे डिस्टिंक्शन दिख रही है from your roots, because of which you came out to be a very strong, or that is at least your journey, a strong, fearless, independent and highly self-accepting person, and highly self-aware. जैसे होता है ना, मुझे मेरा नेगेटिव भी पता है, मुझे मेरा पॉजिटिव भी पता है. So I know my patterns, I know my coping mechanisms. It's a very killer sort of a pile, huh? Like very powerful. Okay, so now coming on to the second part, which is what do people think about you when they see you first. So what I've done is I've tried to take out the first impressions, and then eventually when they know you, what do they feel about you. So the first impressions that are coming here is, I think people see you as an absolute fun and go-getter and like a life liver person. Life liver? I don't know what to say. Like, somebody who truly lives life, who's so full of adventures, who's just always out there and having fun, collecting experiences, taking risks in their life, going on adventures and truly enjoying their life. Does anybody from this pile have a specific pet also that they are very attached to? Or do you often think about animals? I think getting an animal or just being kind to animals is also something that is going to be very important to this particular pile. Okay. They also see you as somebody who is a leader. So the first impression that comes of you now is somebody like who is a strong leader, or maybe who's like, the one who's actually the first one to be giving ideas and saying, hey, let's do like this, like, or maybe planning the entire thing for a group. So you often come across as like a planner or a leader, and you come across as really decisive. You come across as somebody who's quick, who is in touch with who they are. But I am also getting the message here that some of you may also come across, I'm getting two messages here. Some of you may also come across as slightly snooty initially or snobbish. And the second message that I'm getting is that some of you, it's very easy to decode that you are somebody who has really worked hard on yourself. So like I'm getting two messages. Either some people must be thinking of you as snooty or snobbish when they see you or meet you for the first time. And some must be understanding that, whatever you are right now is a very worked upon persona. And not negatively, not like a fake persona. It's just something that you've really worked hard to be what you are right now, because you come with a background of hurt, baggages, and certain experiences that have made you reform things about yourself. But you do come across as a very strong person, as somebody like, who has proper leadership and like driving the group and driving the crowd sort of a traits. Also now the energy in the card is very wands energy. I think people who have picked this pile now, they could be fire signs, because the energies that are there in the card, they are very much signifying that this is like a typical fire sign energy, which is like, hey, like, I come and the party starts, is what I'm actually hearing in my head. Okay, now coming on how you like to be perceived by people. It's actually interesting. I told there is a certain sect of people who would see you as somebody who has worked very hard on themselves, because they came from certain experiences in their past. So how do you like to see yourself? My cards are saying you do like to see yourself or be seen as somebody who is very wise, who is spiritual. Also what I'm getting is maybe you don't necessarily like this whole adventure and impulsive energy that people see you in. You want to be seen as somebody who's like very calm, composed, dhairya. That's a word I'm hearing, like कहते हैं ना धैर्य रख के, बहुत सूझबूझ से. So I think this also could be a battle in your mind, okay? Because to people you come across as somebody like who's enthusiastic, adventurous, and like really fun and seeking out fun in their life. And honestly, it's a positive card, so like there's nothing wrong. But then you want to be seen as this really like calm, shant person who's like, no, I think before I take any step or any decision, no, everything comes from, everything that I do comes from a place of reasoning. But ऐसा थोड़ी है कि that just because if somebody is how do I explain this? Just because somebody is quick at making decisions does not mean they are impulsive. What you also need to realize is that there are so many people who are just not quick at making decisions. So उनके लिए anybody who's decisive or quick sometimes come across as being impulsive. But I want to assure you that whatever decisions you take, वो किसी को देखने में impulsive लगे और तुम्हारे mind में चाहे वो wise हो, let me tell you, they all come from a space of being wise only. So I'm validating this for you. Okay, then how do you think of yourself? I think you like to think of yourself as this person who is extremely social. I'm also getting a lot of drinks and alcohol energy in this. So maybe like you're somebody who enjoys a drink or two. You like going out and meeting your friends. You also like engaging in conversations. I'm hearing major on conversations. Like, as long as the conversations are good and they are interesting, you really like being like, in that group or like party or like in that situation. Also, how do you think of yourself? There's another thing that's coming. That is that you are somebody who believes that I am very giving. And giving both emotionally and in regards to my resources. And frankly speaking, I don't think I would contradict this by saying, but log aisa nahi sochte. I think this absolutely comes off also that yes, you are truly giving when it comes to being resourceful, giving emotionally or mentally to somebody. But yeah, I think the only disconnect that I would say is you want to be seen as this like not impulsive, calm, I've really taken time to think about this decision sort of a person. That's what I think the people don't see you as. Rest in regards to being seen as social, party, etc., that I'm getting like it's like in sync, like in regards to what people see you as and who you think you are. Okay, then how do people see you eventually, like after the first impressions are done? What is it that they then notice about you or form like a more of a eventual, gradual, or a permanent sort of an opinion about you? So first thing that I'm reading is that people see you as somebody who's really good with finances. I think they see you as someone like who really knows like how to save money and have their own financial standing. So maybe you are somebody like who's very strong on like managing your finances very properly in regards to the life that you live. क्योंकि मुझे हल्का सा ना लाइफ के लिए भी ऐसा आ रहा है that maybe you do live a very luxurious life. And again, luxury need not mean that you're straight away going to the Oberoi only. Luxury can simply be that you are somebody who shops quite a lot. So, I mean, don't grasp onto the literal meaning of the words, but just understand that in context to the people you meet, you could be living like a slightly high-end luxurious life. So first thing that I say is that people see you as somebody who really like knows how to save money and knows how to save money properly. I think some of you who are reading currently in this pile now, I feel this pile ना should probably do something for their नज़र. मुझे लगता है आपको एक बड़ी नज़र उतारनी चाहिए. मुझे लगता है the way you manage your finances ना, maybe लोगों को देखकर ना वो समझ ही नहीं आता कि कैसे कर लेते हैं यार. Like how do they go about figuring all their finances in one go? So that is what I'm getting. Okay, then again, eventually how they see you as is somebody who's a long-term planner in life. Who's not bent on short-term joys or short-term gratification. They are somebody who's a planner, who likes to plan the future ahead, who likes to see like the long-term future and accordingly take calls in their life. Then I think once people get to know you, what they also realize is that you are slightly a negative person. You are a person who tends to see what's not going on right in their life more than what is actually going on right in their life. So maybe this is something you should actually try to change about yourself, because I would say that this, and along with the fact that maybe you live a luxurious life which may not be very well planned financially, or even if it is, तो आपका situation ना थोड़ा balancing रहता होगा. जो आया वो चला गया. Savings में भी पहले की हूँ, अभी नहीं हो पा रही हूँ. Some mixed messages here in regards to finances. तो थोड़ा सा उससे भी like people are just not able to comprehend that how does this person live their life. So they could be a little envious or jealous also towards you when they see you like now or once they have got to know you. So yes, I think your negativity and your financial management of things is something you need to work upon. But rest, everything stays, along with the fact that they do see you as somebody wise and who's like a long-term planner. And lastly, what should you be appreciating about yourself more? So honestly, you are wise. Like, let's just give it to you and let's just close this discussion now. So people think also that you are wise, just that people who understand it also understand that it could be coming from a space of trauma or like bad experiences. But let's just accept, people accept you're wise, you accept you're wise, and I think you should totally accept that you are wise. So I think what's happening here is maybe you might also be one of the people who gets conscious if they are given compliments, or they may not actually be liking compliments. Why I'm hearing that is because the cards that have come here in regards to showcasing your journey and the wisdom, it's actually that you should in your wisdom be placing yourself here, but you only place yourself here, which is not needed. There's sometimes like people, if they truly accept themselves ना, तो कुछ लोगों को imposter syndrome वाली feeling आती है कि नहीं यार मुझे तो नहीं लगता I'm so good or I'm so wise. So accept yourself. And plus the main card anyway that came for you here is the card of Bhairav, right? Which is all about truly accepting yourself. जो भी अलग है, जो भी समझ नहीं आता अपने बारे में, वो ज़रूरी है accept करना. तभी you would feel like so in like resonance with yourself and in your true power. Then the other thing that my cards are saying is, okay, this I'll read last. I need a little bit of time to understand it. So the last thing that my cards are saying is, you are also somebody who should be appreciating yourself for being able to balance yourself emotionally. Maybe when people see you as somebody who is a little bit more focused on negativity or things not going right, because it's fine now. If you will not share with people, then whom will you share it with? But the truth is that you're also somebody who's extremely capable to handle yourself and manage your emotions very well. Maybe you are also, people have picked this pile, they could have invested a lot of time in therapy, reading self-help books or understanding their true selves. तो चाहे वो शेयर करें किसी और से, वो अपने ऊपर efforts invest करते रहते होंगे to become their true self. So that's appreciable, and you should appreciate that about you, that I am able to handle myself. Okay? Then the last thing that my cards are saying is, okay, so the last thing my cards are saying is that I think for those who have picked this pile, genuinely the childhood or the life has been a little tough in regards to being able to give love to people. Like some people also come from a space of such innocence and maturity, and now then we start growing up, and considering we are living in Kali Yuga, we start feeling that, it's not worth it. The innocence or the purity in friendships or relationships is not worth it. So I think due to all of that experiences now, a part of this pile has also been a little closed. But I'll always tell people, like who come from such a background or such a past which is troublesome, that अगर वो नहीं होता तो ये भी तो नहीं होता ना, इतना spiritual growth, इतना wisdom, कितना कुछ नहीं होता. And ultimately the aim in life is to be like this only for everybody. So just that you are a little ahead in the journey is how I would like you to see it. So anyway, my cards are also saying you like to tell yourself that no, maybe I'm not very loving, I don't know how to express love, or I don't know, like, if I would be able to do a lot for people in the right manner, or maybe, you just feel that you're not very good with like flowery language or love. And I'm also getting a lot of blunt energy in the cards. So actually what you should appreciate yourself for more is that you are actually somebody who truly knows how to give love and make somebody feel truly loved and special. And if the first part did not resonate with you, then again my cards are saying that just take this message that you are somebody who truly knows how to make somebody feel loved and special. So don't think that maybe you don't know how to project your love very properly or nicely. You do. In fact, the best part is you also come with taking small steps towards ensuring that people around you feel loved, feel taken care of, and feel nurtured. So yes, you should totally be appreciating these things about you. The more you appreciate and the less you focus on what people think and what you truly are, soon you would be able to be in this energy. So I hope the reading helped. If any part resonated, please comment below. I love knowing feedback, and the best way of feedback in regards to such videos is comments. And when you comment, you also help me grow, So let me know. Bye. Hi, pile number 2. These are your cards, and let's get into your reading. Okay, this pile I would really want you to comment down whenever you see this reading, and let me know if what I'm going to say now is true or not. Okay, so the main card for this pile is Chamundi Pada. Okay, and before I explain you each card individually, tell me that this pile I feel has had a very strong masculine influence in their life. It could be father, it could be brother, and the definition of strong can be both negative or positive, because of which maybe they don't even realize it right now, but subconsciously they are in this major fight with their own selves and their own destiny to A, have a lot of money, B, to be their real self. I think growing up, maybe this pile was oppressed a little bit, or if not actually oppressed, they were made to see things very differently. For this particular pile, I'm getting the feeling that this was a pile that was conditioned to think in a particular way, And now as they've started growing up, they have realized that, oh, I did not have to buy, through all those conditionings, or like how I was taught कि अच्छा ये ऐसा ही होता है, तो मुझे वो सारी बातें मानने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं थी. तो one is that, and the second is definitely some very strong masculine influence, because of which the need now to get out of the conditioning, or the masculine influence could have been the one because of which all this conditioning also happened. So that is very strong. So you validate for me that if that is true or not. And now let me explain you each card individually. So coming on to your main card, which is Chamundi Pada. So little story about Chamundi. So Chamundi is actually supposed to be a fearsome avatar of the mother goddesses, and she's also a yogini. She was also one of the attendants of goddess Parvati, and she has birth from some specific part of goddess Durga, okay? And she was specifically given birth to kill 2 demons. If you look at the card, there is something seemingly very terrifying about this particular yogini. Also, the color play and the expressions, they all speak a lot about a lot of anger. And this anger is a very self-righteous anger. It is an anger which you should be able to channelize in the right form. Just like, like we hear these stories now, after my breakup, I straight away, became like a billionaire because I've channelized my entirety into my career. So channelizing anger for right reasons is very important for this particular pile, okay? I'll expand more on it later, because I'm actually getting a lot of messages that I should be talking to about for this pile. But let me first quickly get into your reading, and in the end we'll take up this card again. So how do people see you as a first impression? They see a very childlike energy in you. The moment they see you, they see you as this bubbly, childlike sort of a person who could also be a little bit crazily emotional. I don't know why I'm wanting to say the word crazy. Like, I would not want to say it, but crazy and emotional, but good crazy. Like bubbly. I'm actually literally thinking of, like how they portray women in a couple of these movies, right? Like where they are bubbly and they are like a little childlike. So that is what I'm getting for this particular pile. So childlike is something that's very prominent about you when somebody meets you. Then the other thing that is also there is that maybe you are somebody who's fond of very finer things like nature, flowers. Maybe you do collection of like sometimes these random leaves, etc. So they see all of this in you, that everything seems very pure and innocent about you. Something a little bit to do with childhood also. Maybe when you meet people, you talk a lot about childhood and how it was, a certain childhood memories, because of which all the more they feel that how connected you are still with those nascent and pure feelings of like being in childhood. So that's how they see you. Then the other thing is that they feel you're very emotionally balanced. They also feel that you're very calm and composed. And you try to think of a particular situation from all perspectives. And another thing that I'm noticing here is, I think you also could have a very masculine energy in you. Maybe you should balance that. Or accept it actually. What I'm getting in my cards is that you do have a masculine energy in you, but you don't want to accept it. People who have picked this pile, they could be more in touch with their feminine side. And feminine, masculine, we have in both genders. Actually, I should not say both genders. In all the genders that are there, we all have a latent feminine, a masculine side. As a body, the way we are built, So, yes, you could have a very prominent masculine side, and maybe you should learn how to A, accept it, and then B, balance it. I feel that sometimes you let your masculine side out too much, which brings me back to this message, which is the anger, arrogance, pride, and there's also a card of defensiveness here. So you should balance your masculine side or masculine traits, accept it, but also learn to balance it. actually what happens is na, sometimes when we just don't accept it and we are just aware of it but are not accepting of it, तो हमें ना उसको हैंडल नहीं करना आता. एक्सेप्टेंस होती है ना तो भी नो कि ऐसी बातों पे मेरे को सपोज गुस्सा ज़्यादा आता है तो नाउ आई विल बी काम. अवेयरनेस तो होती है कि अरे मुझे पता ही था मुझे गुस्सा आएगा, बट व्हेन वी हैव एक्सेप्टेड इट वी आर एबल टू मैन्यूवर अराउंड इट ऑल्सो. So that's how people see you as a first impression, a little bit high on your masculine traits, which you probably could use balancing. How do you wish to be seen? Okay, this file is really fond of extreme, ultra luxury and finer things in life. Like for sure, this file must be fond of like really fine things, spending on brands, spending on slightly more fine tasting, expensive things in their life, or that is at least where they aspire to be. So this file likes to be seen as somebody who is very hoity-toity and very proper. Like, if given a chance to actually properly groom themselves, be it in their communication or be it in the way they carry themselves, they would be actually the first one to grab that opportunity, because they always want to be seen like very prim, proper, elegant, fine, refined, polished. These are all the words I'm hearing in my head. So that is very important for this file. Then how do they think that they are seen is also, this file is actually aware. They are coming across as somebody who know that maybe people think I'm a little bit too ladaku, like I'm a little bit too ready to be at war, I'm like ready to pick battles. So maybe people see me like that, but I hope they also see me as somebody who wins most of the battles. So like that pride of winning or that arrogance maybe of winning is so important to this file, that no, then I should also be seen as somebody like who's winning the battles. So it's not just about that I'm picking a battle, it's also about that when I pick a battle it's for right reasons and I win it. So they are aware of this. Maybe that's why you need balancing of your masculine traits so much. It's not coming exactly how you want it to be projected. So anyway, this reading is to help you for that only. And yes, these are also people who really like dressing and everything also very properly, and they are also people who are very emotional. This is how at least they see themselves, that like I'm very emotional in sense that I'm truly very loving. That is how they feel they are. People also feel that you are loving, or you are somebody who can be like well balanced, but loving towards them not so much, but definitely arrogance, anger, and sometimes overdoing of masculine traits towards them. Yes, that is there. So I think there's a disconnect here. Okay, once somebody has got to know you, how do they see you? They see you as somebody who's so progressive in their life and for their life. Like they see you as somebody who's constantly making efforts to become better at what they do, to find their own path, their own journey. They also see you as somebody who does not maybe necessarily like to get influenced by people, which is a good thing. They, via you, they also discover this about themselves, that, oh, it's okay, like, we can have our own path, which may or may not make sense, but there's no point in getting influenced. And again, this influence, I would tie it back to how I started the reading. It is coming from the fact that they definitely had a very conditioned upbringing, childhood, or a small patch of their life where they were genuinely conditioned into believing certain things or living a particular life, because of which now the struggle is also that no, I have to like undo that conditioning, I have to find my own path. So yes, once people get to know you, they see that yes, you are on this journey and this quest, and you do so successfully with small wins and victories in your lap. They also see you as somebody who is happy to make quick transitions, or who is happy to have the conversation of transitioning in life, like maybe transitioning from one thing to another. I don't want to say it comes easy to you looking at all the cards, but I'm saying that your life actually is something that transitions quite a lot. So they admire you for this, because they feel that because the life is transitioning, it also must be the person's onus, right? कि वो allow कर रहे हैं वो transition, accept कर रहे हैं. So they actually see you as this person, who's just always moving with the flow and tide and accepting things for what they are. They also see you somebody who is I want to say decent with saving money, but more so I think the kind of people you could be surrounded with right now, you could actually be seen as somebody who is a little bit more miser or very particular about how they are spending money, if miser is too extreme as a word. So yes, you come across as somebody who is very particular about how they handle their finances or their money, for sure. You know, one thing that I would just tell this pile now, rest everything to aces, because right now it just seems that they're still in that journey of finding themselves and discovering themselves. So I would not even want to tell too much about kya ho, kya nahi ho. Like, be comfortable and just discover yourself, right? But this pile really needs to figure this whole condition and what I am, balancing of masculine traits, and dealing with the repressed emotions, anger, and the purpose which has been repressed in their life. I would want to give this advice to this pile. Okay, and lastly, what is it that you should be appreciating about yourself? So first, you should be totally appreciating this about yourself, that you're always and constantly in a movement, in an energy to be ahead, which means you're putting effort. अब अगर कोई सपोज चैरियट भी चला रहा है तो उसको एफर्ट तो डालना पड़ रहा है ना, चॉइसेस तो बनानी पड़ रही है ना. तो यू शुड नॉट नेगेट योर सेल्फ और रिड्यूस योर सेल्फ ओनली टू दिस पर्सन हु इज मे बी always ready to go to war or like picking up battles, or again limit yourself to just as this person who's fond of everything fine, nice in their life. No, you are also somebody who has a lot of energy, a lot of motion in yourself to be able to move ahead and accordingly take choices and decisions in their life. So I think maybe you don't give a lot of credit to yourself in regards to the journey that you go through or the journey that has brought you here. I think you should do more of that, like true self appreciation of that, and not just of, I would actually say, of these more like superficial traits, that I know how to take care of myself, or oh, I'm childlike, or maybe I need to curb my battling or like aggressive nature. No, instead, deep down at your core, you need to truly appreciate that how far I've made it till now, and how I'm always constant ready to pick myself up after each transition that I go through. Then the second thing, what you should maybe tweak a little bit about yourself and not really appreciate, is don't be very defensive. Defense is something that is stopping you from growing, and defense is also something that maybe keeps you tied to more superficial aspects of yourself. Also as I drank the water, I just realized this pile has so much of water energy. I think this pile is also somebody who must be drinking a lot of water, or they should be drinking a lot of water. Hydration is very important for this pile. There's so much water in my cards. Okay, so coming back to defense, don't be somebody who's very defensive. I would not say that this is a trait you should appreciate about yourself, but I think this is rather a trait you should fix about yourself. Don't get up and be ready to pick up a battle, or see every comment at you or things about you straight away a chance to pick up a fight, or become defensive about it, or try and prove your aspect. Then another thing that is there in the pile is that this pile must have a lot of exposure. So what you're being asked is that you should appreciate yourself for all the exposure. I think you have a lot of global exposure or global sort of knowledge, and because you're so fond of fine things in your life, it could be related to anything, could be related to brands, could be related to how people live in different countries, etc. I think you should also appreciate yourself for that. And your perspective to things is a lot more broad-minded and open-minded, which I think you maybe don't know also. This is not something again you have explored. So this pile really needs to explore themselves a lot more also, before they actually come down and watch this reading, because they're still in that journey. But yes, exploration and great exposure is also something you should appreciate yourself for, because things like this make up first for better perspectives in life, good conversations, So, yes. Okay, now coming on to this card in the last, because those who selected this card, I would just say there's a lot of repressed true self, anger, purpose in your life. Your question in life right now should not be how do people view me, how should I be viewed by them. You should not care about that. You should only care about that am I living my true purpose right now, and start on that journey. Your focus should be right now to be more self-aware, know yourself better, and not worry about what people think of me right now, if I can truly read what I'm feeling for this while. I hope that helped. If it did, please comment below. It also helps me to grow, and plus your comments are a form of feedback, for the readings that I put out for free, so they work as an energy exchange. So I would love for you to comment and tell me if anything resonated. Bye. Hi, pile number 3. These are your cards, and let's get into your reading right away. Okay, so first, before I get into the reading, I want this pile to know either people who have picked this pile have just went through some sort of a breakup, or they just are in a very hopeless and desperate state of life right now to have somebody like in form of a relationship. तो वो कार्ड पॉप आउट हुआ था, something is happening on the relationship or the love life front, and it's becoming troublesome, it's becoming problematic to the level that you're questioning yourself कि क्या हो रहा है, या मन नहीं कर रहा कुछ भी एक्सप्लोर करने का. तो I would just say that whatever it is, explore it. It just popped out, so I had to give that message. This pile is of someone who's a true nurturer, or a mother figure or a parent figure in their own life and in the lives of people around them. Or you could be that person who likes to be seen as the mummy or papa of the group. And when I say seen, I don't mean that you don't do things as per that. But this pile comes from a space of wanting a lot of validation, if I can put it like that. The entire behavior of nurturance to the level where you have like a lot of maternal or paternal, I mean I'm just gonna say maternal because any sort of nurturance is straight away like resonated with mummy more than papas. So that maternal instincts or the instincts to nurture and like make lives of everybody better, etc., they also stem from the need of a lot of validation and inner child issues. So I would say that maybe journal on that and find more on that. But coming to your master card, so this is your master card, and as you can see, it's so beautiful and so colorful, and already as you can see that the main yogini is actually nurturing a child with the breast milk. It's providing nurturance, it's providing vitality. So when we speak of nurturance, vitality, or maternal behavioral traits, there are 2-3 chakras that come to the mind. The first being the root chakra, second being the solar plexus, and third being the sacral chakra. क्योंकि जिसमें nurturance energy होती है ना, उसमें कहीं ना कहीं एक creativity भी होती है. Could be latent, could not be latent, but nurturance is such a feminine trait that it brings creativity, brings problem solving skills at hand. Okay, so for this particular pile, they should really focus on balancing their root chakra and their sacral chakra. This pile could also actually have few issues of PCOS and PCOD. If you are a woman, if you're a man, there is a chance that some of you may have problems in ED. So anyway, yes, this pile needs to first focus on balancing their root chakra and their sacral chakra. Now coming to the first impressions of people of you. So you come as really introverted and closed. Like you come off as somebody like, who's very deep thinker, who's maybe slightly introverted, a little closed. You could also be somebody that if you're not extremely as introverted, but the kind of conversations you must be having now with people when you meet them for the first time, they could be slightly more deep, more curious, more asking questions, because of which the conversation becomes you asking more and hence you knowing more, but they in turn maybe not knowing as much about you. Another thing that's coming off as a first impression is that some people in this pile may be giving off this energy that the person right now is struggling in regards to growth in their life. तो अभी आपसे जो भी मिलता होगा ना, वो उसको कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा लगता होगा कि ना अपनी फाइनेंशियल ग्रोथ या किसी चीज़ को लेकर ना अभी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं लाइफ में. एंड दिस डज नॉट मीन दैट यू मे नॉट बी डूइंग फाइनेंशियली वेल. It simply means that you might be giving off those vibes or might be mentioning things about your career or your growth etc. in a manner कि उनको होता होगा कि they are very ambitious or they have a lot of dreams and aspirations, and B, it feels like they could be struggling right now. They are not where they feel they should be. But definitely a pile chosen by people who come across as slightly introverted or in a very protective energy, that I will not reveal everything about me in one go. I don't want to. What I would do instead is maybe I will have great conversation with you, get to know you, and slowly over the time I'll see that if you truly deserve to know the real me or not. How does this pile like to see themselves as? I don't know why it is saying that people see you as somebody who could be struggling a little bit with money. Maybe you are somebody who talks a lot like that, like showcasing the scarcity mindset, or just talking about that, why we have to spend so much, be minimalist, this and that. So maybe you hang out with people who don't necessarily understand where these perspectives are coming from. Or another message actually, you could be coming across as somebody who is a little too extravagant, which maybe is not needed. So there is some conflict in money energy here for sure. How do you like to be seen yourself? My cards are saying that you like to be seen as somebody who is always wanting to do a lot for people, like who is happy to help people, who is happy to provide them opportunities, who is happy to go an extra mile for people, is how you like to be seen. I think this pile must also be one of those people who, when they call people to their house, or when they host people, or when they are hanging out with people, they must be the first one to be taking the wallet out and paying money. And that's why also maybe the extravagance is what people see, but maybe they also feel कि ज़रूरी नहीं है, like it can be equal also. Why do we have to make money such a big discussion instead of it simply being an objective discussion? So ऐसा भी आ रहा है that one way of your love language or your expression of liking somebody or wanting to be there for them is also spending money on them. And you also like to be seen somebody as who is very exposed globally, who knows a lot of tidbits and facts and has like a well-rounded perspective on things. Then you also like to be seen as somebody, you want to be basically given credit for a lot of your struggles and your work. You want to be given credit for the fact that, hey, I built myself again from scratch. I was at the lowest in a particular point in my life, and I this is what I am right now after rebuilding myself. So you also like to be seen as somebody like that, that the way I'm projecting, people should understand that I came like with a certain baggage or whatever, because of which things crashed for me, and now I've rebuilt myself. So that is also coming. And at the same time, that now that I've rebuilt myself, I am actually doing very emotionally and mentally sound. So although there is this energy of like being careful, okay, I'm not going to share it straight away everything with you, but once maybe you are comfortable with a person, you do want to tell them that, hey, I've had my struggles, I've had some difficulties, I have had to rebuild myself from the scratch, and I take a lot of effort in maintaining myself emotionally, and yes, I am there. So that's also coming in this pile. Okay. How do people see you when they get to know you properly? So the first thing that's coming is that you are truly a very emotionally nurturing person. So I think people who are like right for you and in your life, they genuinely see you as this person like who's like a maternal or like a mom figure to them. Like they can really rely on you, they can depend on you, They know that if they share something with you and they ask you for something, you would get the job done for them. You would want to protect them, side with them, take care of them. So that is something that is totally coming in this smile. Once people get to know you, they also realize how truly hardworking you are. And I think for this smile, their career is so important to them. Like their ambition is like everything to them. This smile definitely has a lot of validation issues. It's like they're seeking a lot of validation for their own self by channelizing it into multiple things. And this I'm telling as a reader by reading the cards, not what people think of you. What people think of you instead is that you're truly very, very hardworking and you're relentless when it comes to like working towards your goals and ambitions. They also see you as somebody who is very quick with decision making and movement. लाइक जो डिसाइड करते हो ना फटाफट डिसाइड करके आगे बढ़ जाते हो, एक पर्टिकुलर वे में ड्राइव करना चाहते हो खुद को. So they see this energy of somebody who is very focused in regards to what their goals are and very balanced. कि if I need to think of a particular situation like this, I would, and at the same time if I need to also be weighing importance on this, I shall. People also enjoy hanging out with you. They find you fun. Also, while I kept on saying nurturance and like emotional, that doesn't mean that the spile is not inverse with their masculine traits, the masculine energy. So, the spile must also be the one that would actually be taking charge of a lot of things. How do I give example for this? Because I really want to. So emotional nurturance वगैरह तो क्या हो ना, like suppose you feel your friend is down, you immediately go and take care of them. You immediately maybe send them like a cupcake or like do something nice for them to ensure that they're not feeling sad, or you continuously spend 3-4 days with them to pick them up. But the masculine traits would also mean that suppose if you're going to a restaurant, you are the one who's quickly making a reservation, or who's just sorting things out quickly for people, is what I'm sensing. You're very reliable and dependable. But again, I would say this for you, because abhi to reading aap hi dekh rahe ho na, now that your friends or anybody is getting to know you. All these traits that are coming of yours now, they are coming with so many other cards which are showcasing your shadow self, which is saying that this is all coming just from the need of validation. To be truly loved by somebody, be seen by somebody. तो कभी क्या होता है इसके चक्कर में ना हम खुद को ऐसा बना लेते हैं. And in this process, we sometimes overgive or overdo also, which I'm not sensing by these cards because I've not taken out questions for that. But just maybe speak to yourself and introspect, reflect on that. You're also somebody I think who really enjoys a drink or two again. This I think I said for pile number 1 also, although the piles are completely different from each other. So yes, like you love hanging out with people, you love like meeting people for like a dinner or like a cocktail date or like brunches. So I'm seeing like enjoying life is also what people feel that you like doing. And yes, like overall it's great. Okay, now the last thing, what you should appreciate yourself of more. So see again, like this card, because it's come in reverse, I would actually tell you, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. You actually don't have to fall into this cycle of oh my god, I need to appreciate myself so much, I only need to build myself up from scratch, I need to give myself so much credit. It's good for people who don't make it overwhelming, who just understand it and then just start feeling yeah, I am good, right? I'm not bad. But for you particularly, what it's showcasing is कि आप इसको भी इतना major task बना लेते हो. And once you start thinking about all the good things in you, you kind of overdo it to a level where A, it becomes overwhelming for you, and B, you maybe then fall into the track of कि but मुझे ऐसा होना ही क्यों पड़ा? Like like why did I have to work so hard on myself? So I would actually tell you to take a break from appreciating your wisdom or appreciating your journey of life till now. Like maybe you need to actually take a break and appreciate your now, like this moment, and not like कि पहले ऐसी थी या ऐसा था इसलिए अभी ऐसा हुआ, वो ऐसा था इसलिए ऐसा हुआ, oh my god, I'm so good. Because the moment you get into this, you also start going like, but why did I have to be so good? Oh my god, life is so hard. So maybe you don't appreciate yourself on your wisdom only. What you appreciate yourself is on being able to live your now, and being able to live your now very strongly and positively. Okay, then the other sort of appreciation that is coming for this pile is that the kind of validation you're seeking from other people, like no, notice me, that I came with a lot of hard work and struggle and I've really like built myself from scratch. Maybe it's time that you don't ask this from people and you give it to your own self. You acknowledge that yes, you're truly somebody who's like a man or a woman of strength. You know how to tame your fears, your self-sabotaging patterns, your basically the lion within you for your benefit. And yes, maybe you have had lot of hurt in your past and how beautifully you have come out of it. So I think don't maybe seek it from people like, oh, I want people should also see me like this. First appreciate yourself now. That is important. And I think you also need to appreciate that yes, while you are truly nurturing, but that also means that you also get the right to ask for rest, to ask for time out, to ask for not to be nurturing in a particular situation. You have to have your own cup filled now, so you can fill other people's cup. So suppose if because of the way you are, if you're surrounded too much yourself by people who could be, I don't want to say taking you for granted, but who absorb your energy too much, it's okay to ask for a time out. So you need to appreciate this about yourself, that yes, I know I can nurture and I can really give to people, but I deserve a break too and I need to nurture my own self. I think your focus for this particular pile now is so outwardly, मुझे ऐसा देखो, ऐसा समझो, notice this about me, understand this about me. I think they need to turn it all more inwardly. That first I need to truly accept and observe these things about myself. Because when their focus is too outwardly now, what I'm also getting is, it must be causing like confusion for them. मुझे लगता है पता है पायल ना खुद ही कंफ्यूज भी हो जाती होगी आफ्टर दे हैव डन सो मच फॉर पीपल, बिकॉज नर्चरिंग एनर्जी तो है, दिस इज हु यू आर. बट इफ यू आर नॉट डूइंग इट ऑल द टाइम फॉर राइट पीपल और डूइंग इट बिफोर द टाइम of that phase in the relationship where you should start showcasing this side of yours, तो मुझे लग रहा है पायल को ना confusion बहुत होती होगी कि have they done it right or not, should they have done it for this person or not, are they being taken granted for not. तो इनको ना कौन इनकी लाइफ में रियल है कौन नहीं है ये वो क्वेश्चन भी करते होंगे और उनको समझ भी नहीं आता होगा. एंड फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग इनकी लाइफ में सब लोग रियल हैं भी नहीं. there are multiple people sitting to take in from their cup, but not necessarily everybody is real. So I would actually tell this pile to do, they really need to do a lot of inner work in regards to the validation needs. They need to be nurturing and nice to people. I'm not saying you should not be, you totally should be, but this should not be your identity. This should not be who you are. And I think this pile likes to make this their identity. That yes, I'm very nurturing, I like taking care of people, this is who I am. No, this should not be your identity. And this sort of protection and nurturance should first go only for your own self and then other people. And that's why heal your root chakra and your sacral chakra. But yes, it's a good news that people also see you the way you want to be seen and the way you're doing it, doing things for them. So that is good. Just I would tell for this pile to be more appreciated towards their own self. This pile made me think too much. It's like even I felt like helping them. Know more things about yourself. Anyway, if you like the reading, if it resonated, please comment below, because your comments are the only form of energy exchange and feedback that help me in understanding if these readings are going right or wrong. Thank you. Bye.